And I just realized I was muted. How are you? Happy hump day. Here we go. Thank you for showing up here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me just see here. Testing, testing. All right. All right. Good afternoon. It is noon Eastern time here on the East Coast of Florida. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great week. And I'm going to ask you before I even get started here to bear with me because I am struggling really bad with asthma, actually, allergy induced asthma. I am on all the meds, inhaler. It's like out of control. So in all my 40 years, I've never had asthma. And now all of a sudden I've never had allergies. And now all of a sudden I have allergies and they're so severe that I'm getting exacerbating with asthma. So it's very frustrating. And when I talk, it can worsen. So just wanted to kind of give you a warning, a heads up that I'm like going through it right now, but I'm here and I was very excited about this workshop today because I'm gonna close a couple windows here so that I'm not distracted because today we actually are going to be talking about distractions slightly. We're going to kind of dive into distractions a little bit. So last week we talked about abundance, about attracting abundance and what it takes to attract abundance and why do we want to attract abundance and why do we want to get rid of that lack mindset and open our minds up to receiving more. So I took your feedback from last week, and a lot of it was really about like just the stuff, the things to do that are in the way, right? In the way of your progress. You just every day is overwhelming, and there's so many things to do that is, frankly, putting us in the way of ourselves getting to the next level with our money. Hey, Amanda, great to see you. Thanks for hopping on here. I hope you're feeling better today. Amanda and I talked. She wasn't feeling great. We're in the same boat. Us two Amandas. Hey, we're kicking it together. So, anyways, welcome to today's workshop. So again, the feedback from last week was kind of the biggest thing that I'm seeing with clients and with members and those that are in the audience are just feeling so super overwhelmed with all the stuff, all the things to do that are just in the way of us making progress. And so I want to try to hack that with you today. So again, our coaching session today is about the 3 strategies to make room for more money, right? So, and really what we're doing here is we're just making room for more, right? We're making room for the things that we want. And you can try to sugarcoat it all day and change the words around all day, but ultimately that more is equivalent to money, right? So why do we want to progress? Why do we want to be productive? Why do we want to get to the next level or be successful? That's going to equate to money. It's going to equate to abundance and more income flow and us being more free to do things. And how are we more free to do things? By frankly having more money in our bank account and having more means and options in our lives. And that usually, again, equates to money, right? So it's usually financial. So let me introduce myself. I'll just, again, if you're this is your first time here, if you're here on the replay, hit hashtag replay or hashtag live if you're here live. Tell me, also, where you're coming from, right? So what part of the country, if you are in the United States, or where in the world are you? So tell me where you're coming from to this live where you're at right now. So again, I'm Amanda Delaney. I'm the Financial Fixer, the founder of Financial Fixer. I'm also a podcast host. Check out my podcast. I've taken a break from podcasting, but I'm hopping back in there very soon. So more podcasts to come. So what I do is I help women become the boss of their money so that nobody bosses them around. And this is not to say, I don't need no mans. I don't want to be, tied down to this or that or, whatever. I don't want to, this isn't saying anything's wrong with having, a job, right? Like some of us are entrepreneurs and some of us are entrepreneurs, right? So But if you want more, if you want to be able to call your shot in whatever environment you're in, we need to be able to get all the crap out of the way so that we can be the boss of our money and take control of the things that we're dealing with every day on a day-to-day basis, the people we have in our lives, the things that we have in our lives, and the places that we want to go. Okay. So, if you're new here, also tell me if you're new here, and if you're, and who's referred you as well, if someone's referred you to the Financial Fixer program. So I'm guessing that you showed up here because you want more, right? I know that I'm here because I want more, right? So I'm going to tell you kind of like a little story about when I first started my financial journey, or prior to starting my financial journey, and when I found myself stuck financially, like on a constant basis, was I was too busy. I was a single mom. I had excuse me, there they go. They get started. So I had so many things on my plate. My plate runneth over, right? My cup runneth over. I had too much going on to where I could not get focused and make room for more money. I was, just a busy salesperson, just trying to get my kids to school on time. I was just basically trying to survive, right? And sometimes we feel like we're barely surviving, but often it's due to our own distractions and disorganization. I found myself that once I got onto my financial journey, I started paying really close attention to my money, that I also started paying attention to things like my calendar and, my alarm clock, right? Like going to bed on time, waking up on time, my routine, my repeated behaviors, my patterns, right? So all those things started to kind of click and fall into place once I started paying attention to my money. That's why this is a really important thing to do is pay attention to your money, because ultimately you'll end up paying attention to other areas of your life. That will happen organically. So we're going to talk about removing the distractions of all the things today. So let's go. We're going to go through 3 strategies. All right. So tell me if you feel like you have, put a 1 in the comments if you feel like you have too much stuff to do or too much stuff in the way, whether it's in your mental state or if it's physical, right? Like just things that are in the way, that's stealing your attention. So I have to tell you, and we'll talk about this a little bit more further in the live, is like, there's actually things on my desk right now. I actually didn't get a chance to, I got a late start today. I'm not sleeping because of this whole issue I've got going on. So I've got like food to eat, and I have my throat lozenges and some things that are on my desk. So the truth is, I'm slightly distracted right now when I'm trying to go live with you. Now, for the most part, my desk is clean, so it's not like overwhelming, but we'll talk a little bit more about this. But do you feel like you have just stuff, like when you walk into your house or you walk into a room and there's just things that are in your environment that are stealing your awareness, right? Stealing your attention. So ask yourself, is there too much stuff, or are you too disorganized, or is it a combination of both? Do you feel like stuff might be making you disorganized, and or your disorganization is causing you to have too much stuff in the way? Think through that and write this down. Get a pen and paper and start writing that down. So again, if this is a combo, or if this is just 1 or 2 things, there are things that you can do to bring awareness to this. I want you to do a daily exercise, right? So this is kind of a little bit of a strategy. Find where you're disorganized, okay, or too full, all right, and get organized, number 1. And this isn't like something you can do, Noah didn't build his ark in a day, right? So this is a daily practice of asking, where am I disorganized? And what can I do right now to organize this thing, or this piece of my life that needs more organization? Is it your calendar, right? Are you even keeping a calendar? If you're not keeping a calendar, I don't know how you're surviving, but that's just me. Some of us need a calendar a little bit more than others. But I have to say that the most successful people that I've studied do have a calendar, and they do schedule everything in that's important, and they stick to it. So, and I'm not always perfect with this. Like This is why I'm so obsessed really with learning about productivity hacks and getting really strong with the calendar and sticking to it. And of course, sticking to boundaries, because I want to fill my space up with things that are going to get me to the next level in my life and with my money. Right. So I don't want to be, just kind of like haphazardly all over the place with, like, what am I to do next? Right. I know I have a million things to do, but I don't know what to do next. Do you find yourself feeling like that? Put a number 2 in the comments if you feel like you have a shit ton of stuff to do today, and you even have a list, right? You even have a to-do list, but sometimes you find yourself going, okay, what do I do from here? Where do I go from here? Like, you finish a task or you don't finish a task. Maybe you got distracted and you had to get up and you had to go, wipe your baby's butt or something. I mean, I'm just speaking from experience, and then you come back to whatever that task is and you're like, crap, where was I? Excuse me. Put a 2 in the comments if that happens. You get distracted and then getting back on task is like, oh crap, right? Do you find yourself late? Are you late to things? Back when I was in my financial journey, or prior to getting into my really narrow-minded financial journey, I found myself being late all the time. I was not on time. I don't know if you noticed, but this live was on time, and it usually always is now, right? So it's took a lot of practice, It's taken a lot of practice over the years to be, on time, not be tardy. And what is it that has, kind of shifted, right? Like, so it was just my repeated behaviors when I was in between things, putting space between things. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. That I found myself always being late for things because I always had a full plate and I was always on, still in one task and 5 minutes late for the next, right? Overbooked, right? It's important to book yourself have a full schedule, but not to be overbooked. Okay. So, I'm going to go to high performance hacks. These are good. So I suggest you write these down. So some of these I've taken from a mindset mentor, Rob Dial, I think his name is, because he had like 7 productivity hacks, but I felt like these 3 were the most important and the things that really work for me. Because why do we want to be more productive? I think I talked about that a little bit earlier, but the reason we want to be more productive is because we want to succeed, right? And we want to get more done. We only have 24 hours in the day. Well, we technically only have like 16 because we have to sleep 8. Is that count right? I don't even know. But how many hours do we really have in the day, right? Really, we have like a solid 12 hours in the day, and only a solid 3 to 6 are productive hours. Did you know that? Right? So think about the amount of hours in the day that you have to get your jam pumped out, right? Let me see here if I've got any messages here. Yeah, I think somebody else was mentioning about Rob Dial. Yeah, I just started listening to him because my mentor turned me on to him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's like he's totally mind effing me, right? Like it's blowing my mind. So yes. The overwhelm of starting and staying focused. Who finds themselves starting over all the time? Do you ever get tired of starting over all the time? Put a 3 in the comments if you get tired of feeling like you're always starting over. Like, I'll give you an example. I just took a 2-week hiatus. It was a little bit more than 2 weeks, right? And I came back from this hiatus, which, totally refreshed and rejuvenated, which is wonderful. But I came back to it feeling like I was literally starting over. But at the same time, I had a freshness about coming at it. Like, it wasn't like I was starting over from being totally derailed. I was starting over because I had an intentional break. So I did something intentional. So I wasn't coming at it from like a resentment or frustration of getting off track. It was more so, okay, I made the decision to get off track for a minute, to actually step off the train and then get back on the train when I was ready, right? But even still, I felt like starting over, right? So we're, excuse me, God, this cough. So what happens when we're starting over all the time? We've lost momentum that we had when we were in our zone. When we were going, right, we have momentum, right? But when we stop or when we slow down, we lose momentum, and that can be very frustrating. Okay. So you are a high performer, right? Put a 4 in the comments if you're a high performer. If you think of yourself as a high performer, like you get shit done, put a 4 in the comments. Okay. So with that said, even when you're a high performer, do you find that you are performing high intermittently? So like if you are going from, doing this big thing, like I had to kill it in college when I was getting my finance degree, right? So I was like, go, 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 balls to the wall, got my finance degree, and then flopped afterwards. And I don't want to say flopped, but what I mean is I got lazy. I was tired and I didn't want to go crazy on anything else for a while after that. Why? Because I was on high for too long. I wasn't resting in between. I wasn't taking breaks, right? So I was on high for way too long, and that is not sustainable. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So let's talk about performance. And let's see. Yeah, so talking about not sustainable. I'm keeping notes here because, need notes. Okay. So taking care of ourselves between. So let's talk about the 3 hacks. All right, get back to 3 hacks. The hack number 1. So this is high performer hack. Okay. Hack number 1 is to know your rhythm. So has anybody ever heard about the circadian rhythm? Do you know what your circadian rhythm is? That's basically like when you're at the high, like you have high energy, your brain power is working on 100%, you're firing on all cylinders. That's when you're up, right? And then when you're low, you're foggy, you're tired, you lack energy, you're not you're just low, right? So you go from high to low. Do you notice this during the day? Do you notice this during the day? And have you noticed this in your daily life where you're really high and you're killing it, and then suddenly you're low and you're like, actually imposter syndrome comes into play at that time, self-sabotage, negative thinking, your narrative turns ugly at that time, the inner mean girl gets ugly, okay, when you're at a low. So it's really important for you to know your rhythm and for you to know when you're high and when you're low. So maybe keep notes on this and go through your day for the next week and notice your emotions, notice your energy level as you go through your day. Don't do anything else different, right? But do take notice of how much energy or how much attention you're able to put onto something at certain times in the day. So clock yourself, right? And and again, just clock yourself with a pen and paper. I'm not saying go crazy here, but like notice how you're acting between the times, if you do wake up early, between the times of 5 and 9 in the morning, right? How do you act between the times of 9:30 and 12:30 in the afternoon, right? And then clock yourself between 1 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. Okay, I'm throwing different numbers out there, but you know where I'm coming from with this. And then what's happening to you at about 4 to 6? And then do you get another second, a second wind at 6 o'clock, right? Like you get low. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because that's my rhythm. So I'll tell you what my rhythm is just to give you an idea. And evidently, allegedly, this is supposed to be the most common rhythm. Okay. But that doesn't mean that it's right and that it's the best one, because some of you are turned on at 10 o'clock at night. Some of you are, and if you are, then that's the time that you're going to have to go balls to the wall for 90 minutes at least, or 3 hours. Okay. And get some real, work done. Right. So yes. Yeah. Go time for me is between 5 and 8. Absolutely. Yep. Agreed. 100%. So my circadian rhythm, like I was going to say before, I'm like trying to hold down the coughing attacks. I'm so sorry about this. So my rhythm is 5 o'clock in the morning to about 8:30. and then I'm in another rhythm. So it's not that I've gone low, it's that I've had to do other things. So I'm doing other things. I'm not in my task mode, if that makes sense. So it's you can do research on this. I'm not trying to teach on this at the moment, but again, notice your peak hours. Notice when you're on and you're able to focus on like brain stuff versus also focusing on chore stuff. Like if you need to do chores, like take care of your kids or get them off to school, things like that. What are those times? Because you have to recognize when you have those moments, right? And then when are the times when you want to sit in veg and say, I'm done? Okay. And when are the times that you're bouncing back from that? For me, I slow down at 3 p.m. Actually, it starts at about 2:30. Okay. And then I'm like dead to the world. Like my brain does not, I'm not able to really function at all and make decisions. Also, you don't want to make decisions during a time when it's not your peak. Okay. And then around 6 p.m. depends on where I'm at, but after I've either rested or I've not done any critical work or critical thinking tasks for a while, I get back into my second wind. So now this doesn't really work for me very well because I'm in the night routine with my kids and stuff. So I do other things like chores and things like that, right? Where I need the energy, but I don't need it to be thinking critically, right? I can just do things that are mindless, but I've got the energy, right? So between 6 and 8 or whatever, I've got that energy. And then I slow down again at around 9 o'clock after I do yoga, 9:30, that kind of thing. So anyways, again, recognize your peak hours. Now, with recognizing your peak hours, I know I'm going long on this because I don't know, I find this super fascinating. Make sure that you are working in those peak hours, that you're maximizing those hours where you are at your very best and you're most turned on. And I don't mean sexually. I mean turned on, like, your light's on, your light bulb, right? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I'm just checking the notes here. Yeah, it's totally like a roller coaster, isn't it? Life. Yeah. So learn your rhythm. That's step number 1. Okay. Hack number 1. Number 2, turn off the noise. Turn it off. If you are in your peak hours and this is when you are your most productive, turn off all the rest of the noise. Turn off the distractions. Turn the notifications off. I do suggest also getting really good earplugs. So like when I'm working, especially if I end up working at home and my husband might be there working from home as well, I will absolutely put earplugs in. I know he doesn't like this, and hopefully he's not watching this and getting mad that I'm mentioning it, but it's simply because I cannot take advantage of that time where I'm turned on and I'm in flow, right? Flow, money, flow in, right? Circulate. Okay. If I'm hearing things, if I'm hearing noise, I'm not 100% staying focused. I am being distracted and I am being taken away from that task and I'm not maximizing my time. Okay. Where am I at on the numbers here? Put a 5 in the comments if you're distracted by noise and also by things that you see in your line of sight, right? So if I'm having a conversation, say you and me, we're girlfriends and we're sitting here and we're in the same room and we're having a conversation, okay? And we're just chatting about all the things. And my phone goes off, ding. So I hear something, right? I'm distracted by that. And the likelihood is you are too, right? Say I'm also having a conversation with you and this mic is first of all, it's on my blind side. So it's good. I actually can't really see the mic on my left side, but this mic is sitting there and it's next to us, right? You don't really realize it, but that thing, that object that is in your line of sight is a focal point. So when you have a focal point of something that is, like in your line of sight, believe you me, whether you know it or not, you are focusing on that, which is deteriorating your focus on the thing that you're actually meant to be doing. Okay. So I'm not saying just like clear your room and sit in a padded room or whatever, white wall room. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying clean up your shit in a nice way. Clean up your shit. If you've got shit on your desk, take it off, right? Because it's stealing your attention and your focus away from your productivity. Okay. So the third thing that's going to help you be the very most productive, and this is going to help you be very successful and get really wealthy, is to rest. Rich people rest. Oh, I should write that down. So I'm studying a lot lately about money and those that have it and those that don't, and those that are just winning with money and consistently, cycling in more money and just, giving and growing all the time. Successful people, right? They're resting. Okay. They're resting. They're finding time to rest in between all the BS. Trust me when I tell you. So if you are not, and if you say, okay, come on, Amanda, I don't think that I just have too much to do. I can't rest. I can assure you that because you're not resting, and this is tough love coming, right? This might be trigger worthy. I don't know. Because you're not resting, what you're doing with your time when you are go, go, go is not at 100% full performance, because you're not resting in between. And I'm going to use me as an example right now. I don't think I'm on 100 right now. You may think so, but I don't think so because I'm not fully rested. I'm having exacerbations, coughing in the middle of the night, and it's keeping me awake. So I'm not fully rested. I can't sustain being successful or getting to the next level with where I want to go if I don't get get back into my routine of resting in between. And there's this, oh shoot, what did they call it? There's the name for it, that when you're in working mode versus taking rest in between. So I've heard this from several different successful people, but there's another one called the Pomodoro method. Okay. Which is saying work for 25 minutes and then take 3 minutes off, or 5 minutes, 25 and then 5. I'm not sure I could do that because I like to be in the zone for a lot longer than that. But they're also saying don't do anything for longer than 90 minutes. Don't be in the same task for more than 90 minutes. So the whole idea is the same. And so in between, when you're in between one task into the next, don't just move from one task to the next task. Take a 5 to 15 minute break in between. Go outside, reset, recalibrate your brain. You don't realize what going outside and getting fresh air can do for you, but believe me, it works. Cool. Amanda says that she uses the Pomodoro method when she is in flow. That's awesome. So Pomodoro. Okay, I wasn't even sure what it was called. I'm glad I thought of something, but cool. Yeah. All right. Just reading notes here. So that can work, right? Now, there is something, like I mentioned this before, when we're distracted, it takes us 23 something minutes to get back into flow, into workflow. So when I say take that 5, so if you are doing the Pomodoro and you're taking the 5 minutes in between the 25 minutes of working, it's not because you're distracted. It's because you're just taking 5 minutes, mindful 5, focus on something like your hand, like the lines in your hand for 5 minutes. Jay Shetty mentioned the mindful 5 one time. And I was like, I do that now a lot. I stare at a leaf and I totally overanalyze a leaf for 5 minutes and it changes my life. Okay. Because it cleared my brain. Too much was going on in my brain and I was on overload. And once you take that 5 minutes of rest, right? Mindfulness or mindlessness, and then you get back into flow, it's easier to get back in. Okay. So there's a difference between being distracted, taking away from a task, or finishing a task, or stopping your task on purpose with intention, and then taking that break and then getting back in. Make sense? All right. Excuse me. Okay. So, yes. So the 3 hacks for productivity: learn your rhythm, work in your peak, Number 2 is turn off all the noise. Turn it off. Whatever you need to do when you're in flow or when you need to be in flow because you're in peak, turn off that shit. Clean up your shit. Clean up your mess, right? Okay. And the next one is making sure that you rest in between. Put space between things and rest, or you will not get to the next level. I know, because it's happened to me. All right. So let's talk about the third strategy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take steps to align our environment with our desires. Okay. So we talked a little about this last week, but I want to dig deeper into this. I want to help you assess your situation daily. Okay. And this could be trigger worthy too. So I know I talked about the vacuum law of prosperity last week. I'm going to do a little bit more work with this right now. And so get a pen and paper and exercise with this daily, not just today. Take the action today, but also exercise with this daily. I mean, be thoughtful of this, mindful of this. Okay. So daily task. We're going to talk about people, places, and things. Okay. Because the people and places and things are the things that are either helping you get to the next level, or they're stopping you from getting to the next level, or they're slowing your progress down, right? People, places, things. Okay. Distractions. We talked about that. So the people, ask yourself daily, do this right now while we're in exercise, are the people I'm investing my time into today bringing me light, right? Are they shining a light for me to guide me to where I want to go? Are they bringing that light? Or are they darkness? And this is tough. This is really tough because we could be talking about family here. We could be talking a little bit about significant others. So, and I'm not going to get all into that. I'm not going to give you any advice on that. But I just want you to ask this question. And then I want you to take the next step with either gravitating towards that light if there are people in your life that are shining light for you, or working to distance yourself from those that are bringing darkness. Okay. And I don't mean just shutting out all your friends and family. I just mean working to distance yourself with a healthy set of boundaries from those people, if necessary. Right? Okay. So that's the people, right? Think about the people. Think about the people in your environment. All right. So places is where I'm hanging out, whether online or in person, lighting me up. Is where I'm hanging out, either online or in person, lighting me up. Places. Am I feeling good about myself in these places, either online or in person, where I'm going, work, right? With my, is where I'm at every day, lighting me up. Okay. Things. What is in my space that I don't like? Ask yourself, what is in my space that I don't like? And right now you could be sitting in a room, you could be in the car listening. If you are, don't be distracted. But even if it's in your car, like every space that you're in, every place that you're in, if the things in it are not bringing you joy or making you feel good, or you don't like something, remove it. And I mean, if it's something that you need and you need to work with, that's fine. But get really intentional about removing it from your life, because it will hold you back. Things will hold you back from your progress. Okay. So again, the third, strategy and takeaway is, one, are the people the people who I'm investing in, being a light? Are they bringing light? Right? 2, places. Is where I'm hanging out either online or in person, in real time, in real places, lighting me up. Okay. Things. What is in my space that I like or I don't like? The things that you like, take inventory, right? The things that you don't like, take inventory of and figure out how you're going to get rid of it. Okay. Go deep on that. All right. So announcements really quick. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this brought you lots of nuggets to take with you and take into your day. And if you need to hit the replay again, just to like write things down because you weren't able to the first time around, please go ahead and do that. I really want to bring value to you so that you are getting to the next level with your money and becoming the boss that I know you can be. Okay. So announcements. Next month, we're going to be focusing on getting out of debt. Yes, we are getting out of debt next month. I'm not only going to be training on getting out of debt and kind of sharing on how I did that, but also I'm going to bring on a guest speaker or two, right, of how they've been getting out of debt or how they did get out of debt. All right. So we're going to be talking about that, maybe even a guest expert as well. So more to come on that, but that is what's happening next month. And when I say get out of debt, I mean all non-mortgage debt. Now, if you're getting out of mortgage debt, that's freaking fantastic. That's the next level, baby. Okay. But what we're focusing on here is all non-mortgage debt, right? So private debt, consumer debt, vehicle debt, the debt, the revolving debt and the installment debt that is not serving us, student loan debt. Okay. That was me. Had a lot of it. Don't anymore, but I had a lot of it. It was ugly. All right. Maybe we'll talk about that next month too. Okay. So also DM me if this is your jam right now. If this is something that you want to jam out on right now and you want to talk more about it, you have questions, DM me, send me a message, or better yet, text me. Yes. Text me. I am on a community text platform now. Yes, look at me. So if you want to hear from me via text for some money motivation, tips and tricks, announcements for what's to come. Also, when I drop new podcast episodes, I'm not going to be spamming you all the craziness, and listen, you can always unsubscribe anytime. If you don't want to get text from me, perfectly fine. But go ahead and give it a shot because it could be a total game changer for you to get those messages and to get you to stay accountable, right? To your money goals, right? That's what I'm here for. So I want to help you do that by, being with you more frequently. How's that sound, right? So let's hang. So text me and I will go ahead and put the number here. 727-334-8276. Send me a text my money because what? This is your money, right? So my money to 727-334-8276. Send me a text. I cannot wait to hear from you and jam out with you and continue this journey with you on your celly. Yes, I'm so excited. So also next call to action, invite your friends. Invite a woman that you care about today to this community because not only could it bring her joy and bring her comfort and support and accountability, it can change your life. It can change her life forever and your life too, right? So share the love and I'll be talking to you soon. Take good care of yourself, okay? Have a good one. See you next week. Bye.